Welcome in, Christian Gokel and Kevin Thomas here on this Monday evening as we are on the precipice, Kevin, of a massive football season for the Benedictine Cadets. A little bit different. Kevin usually drives the ship, and I'm the one who gets to provide the color. We're going to switch that up tonight. I'm going to drive the ship this evening. Kevin is going to provide all the color in a very dangerous situation at the Thomas household because we have an open mic and two teenage boys in
Right.
some general vicinity of your laptop.
That's right. We are we're living dangerously here on a Monday night. But yeah, hey, I like that. The precipice of a big season. I mean, I've kind of been around watching some of the other high school teams. They've done some media days around and kind of see what they have going on. And man, I tell you what, you start hearing coaches talk about what they've done in the communities and what it means on Friday nights. And certainly we know what it means to be at a cadet football game on Friday night. Man, it gets you fired up. And I know it's hot and it doesn't necessarily feel like football. As an old football player yourself, Christian, you're like, it doesn't really feel like football till about mid-September when it cools down just a smidge. But I mean, it's here. And you got a scrimmage coming up on Friday against Camden. I know everybody, you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt. I think that's going to be particularly interesting this year, just to see how some guys that we get to see Friday maybe handle the first time being in the spotlight.
Right.
But man, the schedule, you've talked with Coach Britt, me too. It's like he goes, hey, I'm not letting up. I mean, we got to prepare ourselves. You want to be a champion, you got to play champions, and well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I think there's no reason not to be tuned in, dialed in, whatever you want to call it, on Friday nights watching this program, because it is going to be fun football. I don't think just eyeballing off the top, Christian, there's not a lot of games right off the bat where you just say it's going to be 70-10 and it'll be over at halftime. You're going to have to go earn it every Friday.
Yeah, and just looking at this one, Kevin, the thought kind of came to me that college football's changed so much in the last 4 or 5 years. And for the longest time, it used to be you had a team and you would add players and you would kind of build on a foundation. And you needed some really good seniors, and then you needed 1 or 2 juniors to really step up and be huge, and then sophomores and maybe a couple of freshmen. But you needed all of that, and you needed the timing to work out right, and you needed to be one of the 2 or 4 teams selected to end up winning a championship. Now you can completely flip your roster every single year. And I think Michigan is probably like the latest example of what I was just talking about, where it was perfect timing. J.J. McCarthy was there for a long time. You had a lot of great players who were seniors on that team, and they built it with Harbaugh, built it, and finally it culminated with beating Alabama and then winning a national championship. But now, like I said, you can completely flip your roster in a year, and there's 12 spots in the playoffs. Anything can happen. A team can go from being 5-7 one year to making the playoff the next year. I think high school football is kind of really the last stop, where it's about 4-year cycles. It's about developing players, building them. And I think for BC, after it seems like such a small amount of time for most schools, but for BC, it seems like forever. After 2 years of not winning a state championship, I think the players on this team are very hungry. The seniors were freshmen back when that happened, and they've gone a couple of years now, and the standard just hasn't been met for them. But you kind of build it up. We talked about how young this team was last year. That doesn't last forever. Now it's a senior-laden team. And then you add that in the fact where you just kind of have the stars aligning with a massive schedule. I think this is setting up to be a huge year, and you're kind of feeling that in the fan base.
Oh, yeah. Look, I think you lost, like, in terms of named guys, a lot of really good football players, but there's a lot of really good football players.
Third Scroggins, you don't just get over that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have a lot coming back, and I think even in our time, Christian, as we've been following this program, there's been guys when you come in like, all right, there's college talent here. And who are those guys that are probably going to pick up some stuff as the season goes on? I mean, the season hasn't started yet, and I think there's, 5 guys with D1s in the back pocket, good, ready to go. I mean, and that's just right now. I mean, you're going to have more guys go, and then you have a crop of guys behind them who are, I think, it's their turn to step forward and do that. And I think that is what's exciting to me. I know we got the scrimmage coming up Friday. Biggest question on the team. And it's one of those things where, for me, following sports, there's just some things that you kind of chalk up and you don't worry about it a little bit. And I think you look at it and go, man, BC's replacing that entire offensive line, and it's going to be new guys. And yeah, that's a lot, but it's one of those things we just chalk up where it's like you followed Coach Britt's program, and it may take a minute, but they're going to have a good offensive line. Like at the end of the season, it's like, hey, are we going to be road graders necessarily? No. Can we move guys out of the way long enough for Stephen Cannon to complete a pass? Can we push a guy enough for Stanley Smart or a guy to find a hole and get 7-8 yards? Yes. Why? Because they've done it for 15 years. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do it here in 2025. So while it may be an outer concern, I'm more interested in seeing who's the guy that maybe we didn't see, because those four of the 5 guys, I think, played darn near every snap from a sophomore to a senior. Who are those guys that have been practicing hard, working hard, maybe got in garbage time, that now when they get to play all day, every day, first team reps game, all of a sudden you're like, man, these guys are pretty solid. And I it's an interesting question, but I think it's going to be fine. I really do. I would be surprised if by midseason you're not even thinking about it. And it's just offensive line's doing their job. And as you know, Christian, the best offensive line is the offensive line you never talk about. So that's, to me, the first thing I'm watching Friday. Why? Doesn't matter, doesn't count, but big school in Camden County, they have aspirations going deep in the largest classification of the state. If you can handle those guys, chances are you're not going to see a defensive front with that many guys like that anywhere else on the schedule. Warner Robins, Perry, maybe, but I mean, again, if you can handle Perry, if you can handle Camden, you should be able to Friday night in hold your own against the rest of those guys on the schedule.
Yeah, so let's get into it, Kevin, a little bit. You started talking about the team there with the offensive line, and you mentioned that 5 starters having to be replaced. But I guess the one grace you have is like first offensive snap of the season last year against Raven Gap and Statesboro. Carlton Hall, who was one of your starters, goes down with a lower body injury and was out for the remainder of the season. Thought about maybe trying to come back, but elected to just let that heal and be ready to go for this year. And so you do have experience, and you have, Kevin, beef. You have some guys that are over 300 pounds. And I know, again, you lost to Scroggins on both line of scrimmage. Right. They're both down at Miami right now, and you lost 5 stars. But you have guys who have been in, like you said, in the system behind them. And I think when you're talking about this football team with as many guys who have played as many snaps at all the positions, if this was another year, maybe you're not quite talking about the offensive line as much, but it's hard to find a hole besides that. And it's not necessarily a hole. It's just the biggest unknown, because just going back to front, you look at the defense and you have JoJo Sutton back for another season. You have the combination of Estabrook and Williams and the secondary over there. And a few talented guys are really fighting for that other corner spot right there. You have Larson Little back on the inside, 3 or 4 other linebackers around him who are very talented. You go to the front, you watch a lot of ACC football. You have Cam Cody, who, again, you say LSU receiver, you'd say quarterback, probably USC. If you're talking about defensive lineman, it's hard to beat Clemson, and Cam Cody's committed to Clemson. You have that at the point of attack. And then, you go out and bring in the nation's #1 overall recruit for the 2027 class, and LaDainian Guyton. I mean, there's a lot of talent here, and it's hard to find a hole anywhere.
Yeah, and they play good as a team. It's always been kind of a staple, I think, of Coach Britt, and more recently Coach Houston running the defense. That's kind of been their staple of side to side, getting out. I mean, they play together very, very well, and I think that's something I'm looking forward to. Obviously, when you get the accolades like LaDainian Guyton has, hey, I'm excited to see what happens. Because it's one of those things. It's like we obviously cover BC every Friday night, so now we get a chance to see him up close and personal for the next 10 weeks if you count the scrimmage. So, yeah, man, I'm excited about that. And when you have guys of that caliber, they are really, really fun to watch.
And I know, Kevin, you look at that defense last year, and really the only thing where teams were able to beat them was right up the middle sometimes. And it was when a Cam Cody would get fatigued. You can't play every single snap. And he kind of reminds me of another Clemson guy in Grady Jarrett. He's a little bit, I think, bigger than Grady Jarrett, but just that tenacity where you need 3 or 4 guys sometimes to block him up the middle. But it was when he got fatigued and had to come out. Some teams, I think back to Ware County, where they were just able to blitz up the middle. Then obviously Blessed Trinity and the loss of the playoff were able to just bulldoze BC up the middle. I think it kind of came down to that. You have some guys coming back now for another season who are super talented. You look at Jameer Lee is another, got to be close to 300 pounds now. I'm not in the locker room, so I can't see the scale. But you bring back him, you bring back Smith, you have Guyton, of course, on the edge right there, Reddick, Ward. I mean, just you have beef. It wasn't always that way at BC. It used to be a bunch of 190-pound guys trying to make it happen on hopes and dreams on that defensive line. It's not that way anymore.
No, it certainly isn't. And again, I think they play so technically sound. That's just a staple of Danny Britt football. And Galen Houston on defense is like, hey, we're not going to try to be flashy. We can beat you on technique and just our ability to put guys in the right spot and recognize plays, our smarts. And they do that really, really well. I mean, obviously it's more complicated than that when you hear Coach Britt say, we don't really change defense. We just run the same thing and adjust to what you're doing. It's a little bit more involved in that, but they're very, very good at what they're doing. And just be real, when you see a coach at any sport, Christian, any sports that can stand up there and say, we're just going to do this and see if you can beat us, you know you're good. I mean, right. You do. You're like, hey, we know we're good at what we do. If we're going to say we can do this all night long and you can try to beat us and we think we're going to win. It's akin to baseball guy. Hey, I have a fast pitcher. He's going to throw fastballs. See if you can hit it. We don't think you can. NBA, hey, we're going to throw it into a 7-footer. You can't stop us. Try it. I think that's kind of been the staple of that defense is it's not flashy. We don't need to come after you every time. We're going to do what we do and see if you can beat us. We're going to beat you to the edge. You're not going to get around us. You're going to have to try to go through us. And as you said, adding a few LBs there in the middle, it's getting hard to go through you. So defensively, man, I've always been a fan of watching them play because, again, it's just you see teams get beat getting to the edge in high school football, and it just doesn't happen very often to that BC team. So it as much as I enjoy, and I do enjoy it, watching the offensive side of this thing, man, that defense is fun to watch because they can get it done in so many different ways.
Kevin, flipping it over to the offensive side of the football, I think it's so much pressure on this unit because of how good they are. And I talked to Danny at the Danny Britt show on Thursday, and I was like, it kind of feels like when LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade all got together for the first time. People forget, they just remember the rings, but first half of that first season – it was kind of underwhelming because they didn't really know how to get the ball to score points and go on runs. This group's been together for so long now, and AJ DePhillips has been able to devise plays for this group for so long now. I don't see that being an issue. If anything, it's just how do you make sure all of these playmakers who would be the number one guy on every other team get their fair share of touches?
Yeah, hey, good problem to have. Good problem to have. If I'm Coach DePhillips, I'm not complaining to anybody anywhere about what you got to work with. But you're right. I think that's what makes them so tough is we say it all the time. Offensively, and Christian, you said that, like, offensively, their scheme isn't necessarily all that complicated. They're going to go 4 wides. They're going to go flex bone, 4 wides, flex bone. They're going to motion you and move you to try to get somebody open. But you just high school teams don't have 4 and 5 guys that can cover in space. They don't. And that's one of those things where if you have 3 or 4 legit options that can run and move and catch the football, most teams don't have 3 corners that can cover. They don't have 2 linebackers that can get an A-back moving or, Stanley Smart's leaking out. They're not going to run with him very often, maybe a play or 2, but all night long, they don't have enough guys to cover all the guys that are open. And then you got Stephen Cannon, who is the third in the string of just unbelievable arm talents at quarterback who can put it on the money. And then you throw all that together, that's a tough out, man. I mean, like you can't, as a defensive coordinator, and I've heard many coaches talk about this, they say sometimes you just got dudes and you scheme it right, you cover it right, you just can't cover that guy. And that is, I think, what BC does to a lot of people. It's like, man, we played that right, and they went to their second option and he burned us because he's that fast. And so, I think BC does that to a lot of people. And I don't know if I got him fired up or maybe he didn't want to commit to that, but I think this might be one of the fastest collectives of skill talent that BC's had. I mean, and you say, well, that's saying quite a lot. Yes, I understand that. Yeah, I understand.
They have the track title to prove it.
And that includes your quarterback.
Correct.
So, in all deference to Luke Crovenhawk and Holden Gerner, they did
not win a 4x100.
They did not. So, I think you have skill guys that all competed on that and just so fast. And I'm interested to see how they utilize that to expose teams on Friday nights if they're able to do it. And it's going to be a tough challenge for teams to do it. But also excited to see Stephen Cannon come back. I think it was tough the way his season kind of went. And one of those things where he just got landed on wrong. And it was, that was that. But obviously got the arm talent, man. And I think he's going to have a big season, provided something like that doesn't happen. I think he's going to have a big season. Gosh knows if I would love to play quarterback and say, woo, am I going to get the ball too now? I mean, it's going to be fun for him, I'm sure.
I guess my biggest point to people who are watching are like, okay, well, BC went 7-5 last year. Like, obviously they are a very beatable team. The reality is with a healthy Stephen Cannon in there, their only loss was to 1 point at Buford. And again, that was his second start.
Yeah. And Raymond Gap, which
I'll say that. Raymond Gap, and then you lose by 1 point at Buford. Raymond Gap, basically a small college team. And not a GHSA team. So in GHSA competition, his only loss when Stephen Cannon was healthy was to Buford by 1 point. And again, back-to-back games on the road, one in Statesboro and then one at Buford, and you lose to that good of a football team by 1 point. Had them on the ropes. They had to go for two at the end because they knew they weren't stopping BC's offense. So they go for two and win that football game. And then he comes back in and starts the Blessed Trinity game, does everything he can, but it's just – that point of the season, everybody's firing on such high cylinders. If you haven't been in for 6 or 7 weeks, then it's going to be really hard to get back in. But going back to that Ware County game, before Stephen Cannon gets hurt, BC was moving the football at will and scoring touchdowns at will. And then after that, weren't able to really pick up any first downs. But I feel like this year coming in with him healthy, knock on wood, the only thing that's stopping that train is him potentially getting hurt again. And I have to think that Danny Britt and AJ DePhillips know that. And another year with Amari Burse getting snaps, probably like 70-30, somewhere if I had to imagine that range with the ones getting snaps. I don't know if that would be enough potentially to stop this team with as senior laden as they are and with as much talent as they have.
Yeah, I mean, I think offensively it's going to take an effort to lock them down on a Friday night. Not saying it can't be done because you never want to get ahead of yourselves. And we've seen very talented offenses go down in the swamp and Waycross and play a 14-10 type game. So they can be slowed down, but I think they have a lot of weapons that you have to account for. And it's going to take one heck of a defensive effort to kind of keep them down on a Friday night. And maybe one of those things where if you're a defensive coordinator, you say, hey, I held them to 21. I did my job. Like sometimes that's
21. You get a pat on the back and a raise.
Yeah, exactly. I did what I could, Coach. You go do your.
That's all. Honestly, if you're playing BC, you're looking at your offensive coordinator saying, "I need 30. Like I gotta have 30 if I'm going to beat this team." It kind of feels like Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow kind of teams, where it's just like you're not gonna hold them under 25, 28 points. So your team's going to have to come out and score too.
And I think that's what the kind of the beauty of the offensive system is for BC is it's a hard. You see, college programs don't have the ability to do this, and it's just the way they've kind of set it up. Where yes, they can score in 1 minute. They can also go on an 8-minute drive and bleed you to death that way. And to be comfortable doing either is kind of a unique thing, especially with high school football kids. They're, hey, Coach, we want to go score. We know we can score in 2 minutes. Let's go do it. No, we need to grind this thing out. We're going to go three downs. We're going to be 3rd and 4 like 6 times on this drive,
right?
And we're going to complete it, and we're going to milk the clock away. And they have the ability to do that, and not every team does. We've seen it before. Certain teams come in, they run 5 wide, they're down. They get up maybe 7-0 or 10-0 on BC. And you're like, hey, burn some clock, and they can't do it. It's like we got to run our offense, and that's throwing it around, and then you make an adjustment, and all of a sudden, they can't just salt the game away. And so there's very few teams, I think, that can do it, thunder and lightning, or, however you want to call it in terms of offensively. And they've been able to do that. And it takes a mature football team to be able to do that as well offensively.
Again, it's going to be really fun to watch this football team play. The execution, I guess, will be the question coming in, is how are they going to put up the 30 points? It's going to be on the ground, through the air, screen, over the top, toss sweeps, a lot of different ways they're going to score some touchdowns. We're going to take a quick break. Got a lot of sponsors to say thank you to. We're presented this whole year by Cash and Carry. Great folks over there. Kenny Granger and his crew at Cash and Carry, kind enough to kind of help us lead this charge into what is going to be an unbelievable football season. We're going to say thank you to some sponsors. We'll be right back. Going to kind of run through the schedule right there, and then I'm going to let Kevin think about this during the commercial break. What is he most excited for coming up this 2025 season? We'll be back after this.
Barnes Restaurant is celebrating 50 years of serving Savannah, offering these delicious, money-saving takeout specials.
20-piece hand-breaded chicken finger basket for only $19.75. 12 pieces fried or rotisserie chicken for only $19.75. And feed a large group quick with our 50-piece fried or rotisserie chicken for just $50.
Call ahead for faster service or order online at barnesrestaurant.com.
Cool Vibes Pizza and Wings is one of Savannah's most popular. Could be the New York style pizza, or the pasta, or sandwiches, or wings. Whatever you choose, Cool Vibes has their own unique style. Check them out at 4501 Montgomery Street, Savannah.
Welcome to San Nat Golf Carts, where luxury meets quality. We offer a wide selection of top-notch custom golf carts to suit your every need. With our extensive inventory, you're sure to find the ride of your dreams. Plus, our flexible financing options make it easier than ever to drive one off the lot today. Whether you're cruising the neighborhood or joyriding with the family, San Nat Golf Carts is here to provide exceptional service every step of the way. Visit us today to elevate your ride.
Criminal defense, family law, DUI, and divorce. You need representation. The one to call is Savannah's own Jonathan V. Dunn, PC, attorney at law. Voted a Thomson Reuters super lawyer consecutively since 2023. Online at jvdattorney.com.
Plan your hunting getaway and escape to experience the beauty of Mossy Pond. Our diverse property right here in Pierce County allows you to enjoy various types of hunts, including plantation-style quail, hog, pheasant, and flooded timber-style duck hunts, all within 24 hours. At the center of it all, experience scenic, rustic, beautiful, and inviting amenities like luxury lodging, our first-class pro shop, fine dining, and the perfect event space. Book now and see why Mossy Pond Lodge is Georgia's premier hunting paradise.
BC Brothers Moving is Savannah's most trusted moving service. From residential to commercial to packing supplies, BC Brothers does it all. Let BC Brothers' energetic, trustworthy team wrap it, pack it, and move it for you. Check out BC Brothers online at bcbrothersmoving.com or give them a like on Facebook.
When it comes to blocking all the obstacles that life throws your way, let Vernon Williams and Auto Owners Insurance help you dodge the hits, analyze the playing field, and run the ball all the way home. We shield you so you can have peace of mind when it comes to auto, home, life, or business insurance. As one of the oldest and most respected independent insurance agencies in the Southeast, we know what it means to stand behind the people we protect head on. Trust in the power of the shield since 1934. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Bowtie Barbecue Company at 6724 Waters Avenue in Savannah serves up barbecue both familiar and new, made by hand and made with love. Family friendly and relaxed, Bowtie takes great pride in the by hand preparation of high quality beef ribs, smoked chicken, pork spare ribs, and more. Come join the Bowtie family. Ask about our food truck and catering too. Bowtie Barbecue Company, Southern charm naturally. Look for them online at bowtiebarbecueco.com.
I'm Kenny Granger from Cash and Carry. We're a family-owned business right here in Savannah. We have sections of vehicles that really make it all simple. You'll get a printout of where the vehicle's at, the color of the vehicle. We really want them to be able to come in the yard and find out right where they need to be. The average savings would be at least 70, 80, could be even 90% compared to original manufactured parts. So you can come to a place like Cash and Carry and find the parts that you need at an extremely reasonable price. We'd love for you to come check us out.
And again, Kevin, so excited to be on with these guys and really making it happen for us this season. Couldn't do it without all those sponsors. So thank you to each and every one of them. Excited for this season. And Kevin, looking at it, starts this Friday, 7:30 kickoff down there at Camden County and against an excellent 6A football team. And it's just the start of what's going to be a juggernaut of a schedule coming up for the Cadets. But as we know with Danny Britt, wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, certainly not. And again, I think that's kind of the beauty of high school football. I know you and I have talked in the past about college football, about, so much as you got to go 12-0 or 11-1. It's like you really discourage marquee matchups from time to time, where in high school football, I mean, honestly, if you're a good team, why wouldn't you go schedule somebody good? It doesn't necessarily hurt you. And region play, it only helps you. Win or lose, get ready for your region gauntlet, for potentially playing a team like that in the state playoffs. And I've never seen a team that in high school football that is good go out and schedule good people and say, boy, that really cost us. The only way I can say that is like if you get somebody hurt, I mean, but that could happen playing anybody.
It's on the region game last year, yeah.
Yeah, but playing good people in high school football there is no downside to me. And who do I know? I'm a fan up there getting to call the games and all the action. So yeah, play Buford every other week. I don't care, but that's just fun. But yeah, I agree with how they do it. Load it up, put the best in front of you that you can play, and it'll pay off for you down the road. One, because you're not intimidated by anybody. Why? Because you've already played great people. So why should you care who's on the other side of the field? You're not nervous in a crunch time situation. You're not nervous in a tight game. You're not nervous having to go on the road in a big environment. It's like there's no downside. And to me, that first half of the season, I mean, man, nothing but good stuff. Nothing but good stuff.
Let's talk about it, because you start at Camden, first scrimmage coming up, and then you're at Colquitt, host Buford, at Burke, at Westminster, at Ware to start your region play. Then you have back-to-back home games against Warner Robins and Wayne County. Then you finish the season at Perry and then at Pooler Stadium against New Hampstead. And Kevin, looking at just those first two games of the season, I was talking to Jack Holland, the athletic director at Benedictine. The Buford game in Memorial Stadium, like the fact that you have that team driving down to Savannah, is historic in its own right. And it has the feel of that 2019 Georgia Notre Dame game, where it's been on the schedule for a while now. Yeah. Fans are circling the calendar and have maybe kids who weren't even in high school yet kind of knew about that and were like, we have to be at that football game. That Memorial Stadium is going to be packed. He said that they're going to have the home side, obviously tickets for sale, and they're going to split the away side even to let more fans from the Savannah in to come in and watch that football game. You have that in week 2. And yet the first game of the season is so big in its own right that they kind of feel even. There's no looking ahead here. Everybody's dialed in. That might, at Colquitt County, might be one of the biggest regular season games of the season.
Yeah, I would say the first 2 weeks of the season, you may be the game of the week in the state. my opinion. But you talk about BC and what they've established, but since 2000, really, maybe late 90s, you're hard pressed to find a better football program in the state of Georgia than Buford. You can't stack up to what they've done. Obviously, if you've been on social media and you have a tinge of, hey, I looked at something high school football, you probably got your algorithm threw that thing out there where they showed off their new stadium that they just put up. I mean, I think it's the Coliseum of high school football.
Yeah, it's like $62 million.
Yeah, it's just right there. I mean, there'd be a lot of colleges that would love to play in that thing. Colquitt County, I would say, a long time South Georgia school. Really, maybe I say a bad word. Rush Probst when he came in there, really. But I'm gonna say, he really injected the money into the program and said, hey, if we want to be a state power, if we want to be a team that gets these guys out of Southwest Georgia and gets them into colleges, let's invest in the program. And I think we get to go to the hog pen is what they call it over there in Colquitt. So multi-million-dollar stadium there, indoor workout facility, all that in there. And really since the early 2000s, 2010s, they've put about as many people into college out of Southwest Georgia as anybody. And that is a quality program. Buford, as you said, really, I mean, Burke County ain't no slouch.
Our old friend Franklin Stevens.
Yeah, Franklin Stevens, one of the best coaches you're going to find coaching the game of football. I know he and Danny, were they teammates? I think maybe at
I know they both went to Georgia Southern. I don't know if they were there at the same time.
So, but I know they got a lot of respect for each other. And, Westminster, a team that's out of the Atlanta area that when we made the trip 2 years ago, gave BC everything they wanted out of that football game. So, the non-region schedule is tough to say the least. And then you get into, hey, start region schedule by a trip to the swamp and play Ware County. Good luck, man. It's like I what is it? Ware and Warner Robins back to back. I mean, that is so tough. And we talked about it last year. I mean, you lose 2 games, and I'm not predicting this, that, or whatever, but let's just say you lose those 2 games, 0-2. You pretty much have to win out the rest of the way to make sure you're into playoffs.
Right.
At that point. So there are no off Friday nights at all if you're BC. And from a schedule standpoint, to me, the most intriguing part is the 2 off weeks in a row. It's Georgia. It's September. You don't know. Maybe one of those off weeks turns into a hurricane out. I hope not. But it could get real interesting if things go awry. And from Friday night played to Friday night played, Christian, that 2 weeks off is really 3 weeks. It's really 3 full weeks between playing. So that's a long time to go without playing. And I think that will be an interesting challenge, end of non-region, going into region with kind of 3 full weeks to get ready to go.
If you kind of had to buy the double bye week, though, at Colquitt County against Buford and at Burke, people are all right. We get the double bye. Obviously, there's meant to be another home game in there, but this is kind of the tail end of the scheduling issues presented by COVID, because you had a lot of one-offs in 2020, and then 2021 you really had to start building that back. And so hopefully going forward, it's a 10-game schedule. But because of that, you do kind of get the deep breath. And then you don't have to dive right back into region play after 2 weeks off. You get to go up to Westminster, who's a very good football team, and kind of get your feet back under you after 2 weeks, and then dive into the meat of that region schedule. But just a couple of quick thoughts here, Kevin, is you mentioned it. You get to play in a lot of really cool places this year at Colquitt. We've been to Burke a couple of times. We talk about stadiums that a lot of colleges would like to have. I think Burke is one of those as well. Get to go to Atlanta again. Ware County is such a historic stadium. Anytime we play in a place that Hank Aaron played in at some point, it's really cool. And then you get to go up and play at Perry. And then, yes, you only have 3 home games, but a pseudo Savannah home game against New Hampstead at Puller Stadium. So I think you get to play in a lot of really cool venues. And then I think being at Camden is a really big benefit especially having to go to Colquitt the next week, not just because you get to get your feet wet a little bit with a very good football team, but because you get to go on the road and you get to go through that process of getting on buses, having the team meal, leaving a little bit early, executing that in an away locker room before you make the long trip over to West Georgia.
Yeah, it should be a great crowd there in Camden. They always turn out for the Wildcats, a one-school county. So if they say we're playing football, people show up to watch it play. So, yeah, the schedule to me is amazing. I'm glad we get to bring it to folks here on Watch BC Sports. And, man, what a fun time we're going to have, however it turns out at the end of the day, because I think we're going to see a lot of awesome offensive football out of this team and some really good stuff defensively as well. So, man, I'm excited. I know Friday's only a scrimmage, but hey, that kind of whets the appetite.
I don't care what kind of football. It's football.
It kind of whets the appetite for me to really get it back going again.
All right, I gave you plenty of time to think about it. What's the one thing you're most excited to see this year?
Oh man, that's tough because there's a lot I'm excited to see. I would. I'm just going to be I'll just go stick with the schedule since that's what we're talking about. I'm going to say I want to see that. I'm excited about that Buford game just because it was so close last year, and now they're in Savannah. As you said, Buford doesn't have to go anywhere if they don't want to, and they're coming to Savannah to play. I think that says a lot. But I'm just excited. Once that game ended last year, Christian, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I am already looking forward to the rematch next year, because I think on one hand going in, a lot of people said, well, maybe do pretty good if you can keep it within 10, 14 points. And the fact that you had a chance to win and we're right there up until I think they went for 2 with a minute 2 left. It was right at a minute. And so it was an incredible game. And I think that's going to be the same on the field. I guess just going to say the offense, because there's so much firepower there. Stephen Cannon coming back.
Is your voice ready?
Yeah. I'm lemon juice for the next 3 days. I just think there's going to be so many opportunities for, highlight plays. And I think about all the ones we've seen and the ones that kind of stick out in my mind over the years. And I think the amount of playmakers on this team is incredible. And for doing what we do, I'm sorry, I can't ask for anything else. Selfishly, I'm like, this is good, man. I was like, people are like, how do you enjoy doing it? I'm like, shoot, this is the fun part, man. They have great players, both sides of the ball. They run an interesting offense. They are physical, defensive. It's everything doing what I do that you could possibly ask for, win or lose. Win or lose, it's going to be, something worth bringing to the folks. So I really enjoy that. And I look forward to just running the gauntlet of the season. I know I don't play and I don't practice, but I feel like when we get to the end of the season, I'm like, I feel like I did everything, but no,
it's emotional investment, and we're on the road.
Yeah, you ride the roller coaster with those guys a little bit. Maybe not as day to day as they do, but you kind of, as you said, you get around them, and some of these guys have been playing since we've kind of transitioned over to Watch BC Sports, so they kind of know who we are now at this point, and that we've kind of seen them and talked to them, and so you're kind of like, now I have a rooting interest in them personally, not just the, hey, I'm a fan of the team. It's, I know them, so I want them to do well for them personally, not necessarily because it makes my job easier. But this has been a fun thing, and getting ready to do it again. I can't wait. I did. Is this for? This has nothing to do with the schedule. But I saw a post. Are we getting new helmets here? Is that a thing, or is that just the
post went up and the post came down? So I don't know what's happening.
I'm not trying to break the news. I'm just saying I saw something, and I didn't know if you could either confirm or deny what you saw. I cannot
confirm or deny. I'm in the dark as much as you are. But watching these highlights today, as I was putting this together, the gray helmets, there's a lot of big white spots on them where the paint had been knocked off. So I'm assuming we're getting, whether it's just a revamp of the gray, I'm assuming we're getting some kind of new helmet this year. But yes, I do know what you're talking about. It's somewhere on the interwebs.
Not trying to get you in trouble or anything.
No, I don't know anything. I didn't post anything, so you're not going to get me in trouble. Anything else you're excited about?
No.
I don't want to cut you off.
Let's kick the ball off. Let's
right.
do that.
I'll say this before we get out of here. I love watching high school football and college football because the beginning product is never the end product, and you kind of get to see these teams develop and grow, and you see different guys kind of emerge. We know about Josh Washington. We know about Stanley Smart. We know about Bubba Frazier. We know about Stephen Cannon. We know about all these guys. Who's going to be the Cam Edge? Who's going to be the Jack Gannum, where all of those years, it was very much the same thing that we're saying right now, where you had superstars all over the field, the Broadnaxes and all those guys who were going to go on to play at the Georgia Southerns and make big-time plays at Auburn and stuff like that. And then there was the 5-6 guys who, when you had all of those guys covered, were wide open in the middle of the field for huge games time after time after time. And Cam Edge was massive in the state championship win back in 2021. Jack Gannum was that guy last year, where it's just like you had everybody else covered, and then you forget about 6 in the flat, and it's a touchdown. So it's just who's going to be that guy this year, because there's always one for the cadets. I have my guy who's my early season pick is Aaron Mallard, who's just, I love Cam Edge. I love Josh from last year. It's not the same. It's speed-wise, it's not the same. Aaron Mallard is just a legit kind of 4-4, 4-5 guy, maybe edging up into that 4-3. So I could see him stepping up, but it's high school. You got guys who were freshmen last year. They went to bed, they woke up 20 pounds heavier and faster. So it's like there's going to be somebody who steps up. Jack Gannum was the guy last year, but who's it going to be this season? That's what I'm curious about.
If I knew, I would just go ahead and tell you.
That's what I'm curious about. But Kevin, I'm excited. Just to recap, for those who are maybe new to the ride, maybe a freshman on the team or new to following Benedictine football, Kevin and myself will be on the call for all 9 regular season games, and then any playoff games will be on the call for that as well. Home games are typically done in an audio-only version that's still posted on YouTube, so you can follow along, whether you're in the stadium like some people like to do, or at home, you'll be able to follow along to the audio call. And then away games, we're going to be video broadcasting. I say that with a caveat. The Camden scrimmage will not be a video broadcast. That was requested by Camden, which totally cool with. We're still going to go down to an audio call of that football game, and we'll give you the format, because we're not quite sure what that looks like, but we'll give you the format of that scrimmage when we get down there. But again, Kevin and myself will be on the call. So if you're not able to make it out to Memorial Stadium or hit the road, make sure you're subscribed to the Watch BC Sports YouTube channel, where you'll be able to find this and all the games. Check us out on Facebook as well. But Kevin and myself will be with you the whole way through. And Kevin, I know you're excited.
I'm ready. Kick it off. Tee it up. Let's go.
I'm going to let Kevin go to bed. It's way past his bedtime, but I appreciate you hopping on here for this preview. I will be at Bowtie Barbecue coming up on Thursday at noon for the Danny Britt Show, previewing the Camden County scrimmage. And then Kevin Thomas, the voice, will be on the call with myself coming up this Friday night down at Camden County in Kingsland. Kevin, I appreciate it, brother. Have a good night.
We'll see you.